how you die a little bit at a time, all the time, and you live, depending on how much you gain from it all the time. You don't always know that you gained from it. Sometimes it's negative and it comes back later. But let's just say, right now in my life, my children don't think they need Dan Alexander for a dad because they've grown up to the point they're at now. They're doing what they do now, and that's just right for them. And it seems comfortable and familiar and all that fun stuff. Well, in the same way, when you get to be a grandparent or something like that, and the kids aren't paying attention to their regular parents, and your kids aren't paying attention to you, which are the parents at that point. So the parents aren't paying attention to the grandparents. The grandparents, if they're not doing something with their life, or they're involved in a job or something they're working at, a little piece of them dies every time you've had a relationship. When you lose a relationship or lose a friend or a loved one or anything like that, a little piece of you dies, right? But at the same time, while you're alive, that piece of me that wanted so bad to be the dad of a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, each different age at the same time, growing up with them, knowing what life was like during the first season of Full House compared to the last season of Full House or something like that. I didn't get that as a person. Neither did my kids. And since they don't have that in their life. They don't remember it. It's not a memory. It's not part of them. So it didn't die for them. Okay, I grew up with my mom and dad, both. And my mom was always gone or sleeping during the day. It's gone at night, sleeping during the day, and my dad was always working outside. Like, he just always was busy doing something, and we were off at school, so we were doing our things. We didn't really see much of him, even though we were there, but we had it there, and we had each other just for those little bitty conversations throughout the day. So the ones that people don't get when they live with their dad or when they live with their mom, and they don't get that when they don't know what they miss. They see it on TV, and they're like, oh, that's what other people's lives are like. And it's true. It's what other people's lives are like. But for each of those people, those situations die a little bit at a time. They never come back. You can never have your childhood relationship with your best friend back. You can never have how your fatherhood or motherhood to your 2-year-old daughter was now that she's 20. You can hold on to that feeling and want it, but it's dead. It's gone. You can't add to that theory anymore. That whole philosophy is gone. That person isn't. But the idea that you attached with them, that they were young and they needed you there, it's gone. So a lot of people, when they get older, you die because you feel like everything that needed you doesn't need you anymore. So you've died completely to them. If you can hold on to the idea that you always have a reason to live because the people that you brought into the world and the people that brought you into the world aren't the only thing in your world. They really aren't. So that also means the place you grew up around, the people you grew up around, the people that are familiar to you because you grew up with them, they matter to you and others don't just because you didn't grow up with those others. When you start knowing that, you grew up with all of it. It was always there. Maybe the same people weren't because new people were born, some people died, but every moment the past dies. In every moment, the future that was yet to come that is now arrived dies and becomes the past and is the present moment. And every future moment beyond the one that comes now dies when it becomes the present moment. And on and on and on and on. Everything continues to add, A-D-D, and D-I. Die, as in divide, divide, divide. Or it can become divine. It can become part of you. The whole world is your now domain vine, divine. It's like you can't be broken away from this vine. When you get there, you never die. You've never died. And it's not just figuratively. It's the truth underneath it all. Now, your human body won't be here to tell everyone about the experience that you're having at this exact moment as the livingness that is within all people, because it's in them listening to it, if they're listening to it. It'll never be any different. It can never be any deeper. Their mind can take them deeper based on whatever they're concentrating on or thinking about. If they get into a hectic situation where lava's exploding everywhere, whoa! That's because they went looking for a hectic situation with lava exploding everywhere. Things that can't be prevented will happen on a bigger scale if we start paying attention to how heat and cold and light and dark work. We can actually affect nature naturally. Nature, naturally. How about that? We can do that. We have been doing that. We've just been unknowing to what we've been doing, and it's been quote unquote working so far, but it's not quite working as well. And there's a reason for that, because we're not thinking right. We're not doing what we should. We're doing what we want. And that matters. So all those things that have died off because they should have, or else we forgot about them and we can bring them back. Everything that has once been can be retried, but it can never be the same. It can be similar and almost exactly alike. But everything that is gone has died. But everything that is not here can be brought. So, in the same effect, there's nothing to hold on to. But it's all here for you to have. So if you can do that without intruding on someone's life, forcing yourself into something negative, you're good to go. And you can stay in that conscious point all the time. It may not always be the most fascinating and the most exciting, but it's the truest and the realest. If you have to cheat death or take life or harm people to enjoy it, that's where you got to see where you have a fault that you need to work on. And it's not somebody just telling you that. It's the truth, and you know it. So do it. Do it now, or you'll come back and do it in another lifetime, and not just affect yourself, but the whole world again. And then the next lifetime, you'll not just affect yourself, the whole world again, based on what scale they knew you or were familiar with you. And the more you can spread that word to more people, the faster it can get around, and the world can actually become better. Not in my opinion, just on a natural whole. So that's all for now. Peace.